I'm speaking to Lawrence Hamm, who is the chairman of the New Jersey POP, People's Organization for Progress. His group has been working for years on police brutality, economic justice, and anti-war issues in Newark, New Jersey. This Saturday, July 25th, they're planning a protest program called Million People's March at noon, kicking off at the corner of West Main and Market Street. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I understand people are coming from as far as Boston and Atlanta for the rally. It sounds like it will be quite an important march.
Yes, and I'm glad to hear that people are coming from different parts of the country. You mentioned Boston, Atlanta, Connecticut, and Buffalo, New York, upstate New York, and Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. There'll be a wide range of geographic locations represented at the march on Saturday. So we look forward to seeing people who are going to be there. And we expect a good turnout, and it'll be an exciting day, I believe.
When we covered your outreach meeting in New York, you said there will be a speakers program before and after the march. Can you mention some of the people, the speakers, the entertainment, and so on?
Right. Well, we certainly will have some well-known people such as Professor Cornel West, who's certainly well-known among your audience and your constituents. We'll have Sister Pam Africa, who has been fighting on behalf of Mumia Abu-Jamal and political prisoners and oppressed people for a long, long time. And Brother Daruba Ben Mahad, the former Black Panther Party leader who was a political prisoner and who is now doing work around the issue of prisons and also around the issue of police terrorism. So there'll be a wide range of speakers, and there'll be speakers of grassroots organizations that have been working around the issues of police brutality, racial injustice, and economic inequality for years. In fact, you'll probably hear more voices at this march of people who are not well known than the kind of lineup you would hear at most of our big marches on Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with having well-known people speak at our rallies. That's good, but sometimes we need to hear from the grassroots, the people who are on the ground, the people who are doing work.
Absolutely.
We need to hear what they have to say.
Now, on the flyer, there's a very large number of sponsoring groups. I'm guessing 80 or 100. Could you name some of the more prominent groups? Tell me something about them.
I don't have the leaflet in front of me, but I can tell you that at this point, more than 150 organizations have endorsed this march, including the United National Anti-War Coalition, UNAC. That was one of the big endorsements we got, and they've been very helpful in terms of outreach to different parts of the country, because as you mentioned, the People's Organization for Progress is primarily, although not exclusively, based in New Jersey. We have a branch in New York City, we have a branch in North Carolina, but we are primarily in New Jersey. But UNAC's endorsement has helped us to reach out to other parts of the country. And also, we've had some endorsements from well-known individuals and journalists such as Glenn Ford of the Black Agenda Report, who also has a national audience, and by being on his show, it has helped to generate interest in other parts of the country.
Good. Now, I think it's fairly clear what you mean about opposing police brutality and racist violence, things like what happened in Charleston. But I want to ask about another part of the demands, the one concerning economic inequality. What do you see as the problem, and what might be part of the solution?
Well, the problem is the increasing gap between the rich and the poor in this country. Greater and greater wealth is being held in fewer and fewer hands, and this is resulting in the immiseration of the people. It's putting the poor into a state of desperation. It's making the working class, putting them below the poverty line, and it's impoverishing the middle class. Everybody has been suffering as a result of this economic crisis. And really, and it has caused serious problems such as the very high rates of unemployment that exist in this country generally, and the astronomical rates of unemployment that exist throughout the country. So in terms of the economic inequality area, what we're demanding first and foremost is a national jobs program to put the 23 million unemployed and underemployed people in this country back to work immediately. I mean, this is what was doing during the Great Depression of the 30s. They had a national jobs program called the WP, called the New Deal. And, part of the deal was the WPA and the CCC. And they ended up putting 11 million people back to work within 36 months. Mm-hmm. So we need a kind of 21st century New Deal that will put the 23 million unemployed and underemployed to work at jobs with a living wage. That's what working people need to make. They need to make enough money to support themselves and their families, and pay for the necessities of life. We think a living wage is best suited for that. But in addition, we're supporting the campaign to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and we're supporting a minimum wage for prisoners. Right now, prisoners are a source, basically, of slave labor in this country, and people don't know it. But prisoners in our state and federal prisons, some of them are working for major corporations. They're only being paid 22 cents an hour. So we think prisoners should have a wage of $8.38 an hour, which is the minimum wage in the state of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have a new mayor in Newark, Ras Baraka, son of the poet and activist Amiri Baraka. He was, let's say, an insurgent candidate, a different from the mold of Cory Booker. Has he been able to make much change in the economic situation in Newark?
Well, I don't think he's been able to do that much in the economic sphere. He is working very hard at it, though. He is certainly trying to. He's going out nationally to try to recruit corporations to come to the city and establish plants and factories and headquarters in the city. So he is trying to have an impact. But his major impact as it relates to our march has been in the area of policy. And Ras Baraka signed it law and executive order that would create, for the first time in 350-year history of the city, a police review board in Newark. That's one of the things, and he did that through executive order. So that was the only way to avoid a long fight over this question of the police review board in Newark. So he just went ahead and did it with an executive order, and it should be up and running by this fall.
Will he be in the march, or is he supporting it?
He's supporting the march. He has endorsed the march. He has been at least one press conference with us for the march. He probably will not be there. He has an engagement in New Orleans, Louisiana, that day. So he may not actually be present. He said he's going to try to get back, though, before the march is over. So I hope he's able to do that and at least able to address the people that remain on the ground.
Last question, just a logistics question. About how long is the march? It's going to be a warm summer day for people coming down. They should sort of prepare. About how many blocks would you say it's going to be?
Yeah, the march is going to be about 3 miles long, 1.5 miles down and 1.5 miles back. We're marching from the Lincoln Monument to the Federal Building in Newark. That's about 1.5 miles, and we're going to march back, which is another 1.5 miles, and that equals 3 miles. So I would tell people to dress appropriately for the weather, to bring water to drink, to bring enough to drink throughout the day, and hopefully you should be all right.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you, and thank you for all the work that you have done to promote this march. I've been sending out again and again the promotional piece that you did for the march. It's great. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you down in Newark.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.